Hey guys, welcome to another episode of DFS Jags Fantasy Football Live Podcast, Week 6 recap, and look ahead to Week 7 injuries, waiver wire, all that good stuff. Once again, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Chris Caldwell, all the way from Maryland. How you doing, Chris?
Awesome, man. Looking forward to get into some more live Q&A this week.
Yep. As usual, if you have any questions for us during the next hour and a half, please leave them in the live chat. We will answer them 100%. We will do our best to answer them, give you some good, possibly bad advice, but we can do our best to try to help you with your week 7 matchups, or if you even have any trade questions or anything like that. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Nickel City Mafia YouTube page. We're trying to grow the channel as much as possible. The more subscribers, the more eyes we get. Tell your friends, the better. We like to put this content out for free and have you guys listen to us. And it's a blast for me and Chris to do every week during the season. Week 6 was pretty boring, to be completely honest with you. All the favorites won pretty much, except for the Cardinals. They won as an underdog when they're a better team. The Raiders won as an underdog as a better team. And the biggest upset of the week was Monday night. Bills losing to the Titans in a pretty tough game there. We're going to get to all of that in a few. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to tweet at us. Our Twitter handles are right below us. We're going to jump into some recaps of these games from last week. And then we will once again, we are doing a contest this month for a Josh Allen autographed Speedflex Riddell helmet. So if you would like to enter into that contest, if you have not already, if you have, please tell your friends. But if you would like to enter into the contest, the link is in the description below of this YouTube video. Join, subscribe, tell us something nice you did. Something kind you did, and you'll get some entries into the drawing. We will be pulling that name for the winner in a few days, probably in at the end of the month. I think that's what Mike said. So keep entering, keep telling your friends, enter into the draw. I think he was just telling me we've had about 1,800 entries or 300-ish people enter. So the more the merrier. One lucky person will win a helmet, and we will give the bonus code away for 5 additional entries into the contest in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and jump into week 6 recap. We'll start off with the Thursday night game, Bucs and Eagles. Eagles were a 6.5 point dog in this game. They went for 2 at the end of the game to cover the spread, breaking the hearts of Bucs bettors out there. I know I had a couple friends with big Bucs tickets in this game that at the end of the day, I understand why they go for 2 to cover the spread. I mean, they weren't going for 2 to cover the spread. They're going for 2 to keep the game competitive. But you go for 2 in that situation to basically, if they score again, they basically win the game. So they get that 2-point conversion, cover the spread. They don't get the ball back at the end of the game. So Bucs do it again. They're looking like the Super Bowl champs, 5-1 now. Pretty good game from the Bucs. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, the Eagles came back a little bit in the second half and made it interesting. But with the going for 2 thing, you've seen that a lot lately. I guess analytics is the reason you do that. So kind of an interesting flair on fantasy. I feel like there's a lot of 2-point conversions this year. But yeah, my takeaway for the Bucs is like I was looking at Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, and Antonio Brown's current rank on the year. Brady's QB3, Leonard Fournette's running back 11, Antonio Brown is wide receiver 15, even though he's missed a game. And I would have found it hard to believe that you can think of the Bucs and think of value. So all 3 of those players are performing heads and tails better than the position they were drafted at in drafts. So it's pretty crazy that, the top 3 offense in the league and you're getting value all over the place in terms of where you drafted the people. So Tom Brady, MVP candidate, Leonard Fournette, man, that guy he's got miles in the bank left and wheels. I mean, are you surprised at all? I know you're more of a Fournette guy than I am. But even being a Fournette guy, you have to be a little bit surprised by how good he looks.
Yeah, he looks good. He also looks slow at times to me. He doesn't look like a
He's
dynamic.
yeah.
He's a little old. I get it. A little older, I guess. But the biggest surprise for me was how much of a stranglehold on this backfield that he's taken this year. Ronald Jones is just nothing, nowhere to be heard of. He's not even rosterable on teams anymore.
Can safely
Um,
cut him across the board and not even feel kind of bad about it, right?
Yeah, not at all. The only way that he would even remotely get carries now is if Fournette got hurt, which is you can't really bank on that. But yeah, Fournette looks good. He's getting all the touches in the backfield. He's catching balls out of the backfield. He had 6 catches in this game. But Brady, he does a really good job in spreading the ball around. We know that for his entire career. Another big game from Antonio Brown in this game, and even OJ Howard got into the action this game.
Yeah, I think Gronk's looking questionable, but probably more along the lines of doubtful for this week. So
Yeah.
you can play OJ Howard again if you're really desperate at tight end, which a lot of people are with injuries and buys. So speaking of tight end, huge change of landscape in this game. Wheels
Yep.
up for Dallas Goedert, man. I think this is what we all wanted to happen preseason.
We've been talking about it since the beginning of the season. When they trade
Yeah,
Ertz,
it's
he's
like
going to be good.
we wanted Goddard to take this tight end group just for himself, and I think we also wanted Ertz to go where he went, right? So
Yeah,
I think this is awesome. Dallas Goddard, I don't think you can rank him any lower than like tight end 6
yeah.
for the rest of the year. I mean, he's an elite athlete, and he's essentially the number one receiver on this team. Jalen Reagor is a 0. Quez Watkins is like a splash player, and Devonta Smith has been pretty inconsistent. So
Boomer bust for him.
yeah, Dallas Goddard's their wide receiver 1 as their tight end. So expecting really big things from him moving forward. So if you stuck it out with him, even with Ertz being an annoyance, it's going to pay off now.
Yeah, it was really weird last week. Ertz played on Thursday night, and then he got traded the next day to the Cardinals. I guess the Cardinals, Max Williams was hurt, so they needed a tight end. And then Yahoo took away all of Ertz's fantasy points for the week. It was really weird. Like I had friends that had Zach. I don't own him anywhere, but I had friends that had Zach Ertz, and his points went from like I think he had like 8 fantasy points in this game, and like they went to like 0. Like on Friday, and they were like very confused. They're like, "Are we going to get our points back?" Because he's not playing for the Cardinals this week. But Yahoo eventually fixed it. They got their Ertz points, and now he's a Cardinal, and he's definitely a hot pickup this week if he's available in your leagues. If you're in a pinch at tight end, I think he still has some play left in the tank for him, and he went to a really good offense in the Cardinals. So if you're a Zach Ertz guy, it won't be a bad pickup. But yeah, back to the Eagles here. Goddard's the guy moving forward at tight end. He was out last week due to COVID. Looks like he's going to be back this week. So definitely lock and load Goddard. Don't be scared or hesitant to start him moving forward.
For sure. Yeah. Last bit on the Eagles, then we can move on. Miles Sanders is kind of
he had his best game of the year.
He did, and
9
he's kind of an interesting buy low candidate because his price right now is like Dollar General price, right? So you bought him at Macy's prices, he went down to Target, and now he's like Dollar General. And if they decide that they actually want to use him, it's really intriguing. So I don't know if you're kind of at a pinch at running back, which I think 90% of teams are right now in your league, poke around and see what the guy that owns Miles Sanders is up to. So I feel like a lot of people are just so sick and tired of him that they just want to cut bait, but it's an easy, low risk, high reward move.
In one league I'm in, someone actually traded Miles Sanders for Alex Collins as a straight up one for one deal there. I didn't really understand it, but I guess people are scared of this Carson injury, and Alex Collins has looked good in the few games that he's played for the Seahawks. So I kind of understand it if you don't believe in Miles Sanders, but I like the Miles Sanders end of that deal, to be completely honest with you.
For sure. All right.
But yeah, I don't really have much else for this game. Jalen Hurts had a bad game. Didn't really look good against.
Thanks for bringing that up. Like I think I say it every week. You literally can't watch him play. Do you know what he is on the year? He's QB4. That's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
He
because
looks like
he rushes the ball so much.
he looks like absolute shit. And I saw a really good tweet this year. It's like if fantasy football didn't exist, we would all be talking about how freaking god awful Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
because he racks up the rushing touchdowns, he's QB4. He's ahead of Kyler Murray in fantasy football.
Yeah, I don't really get it. Every time I feel like I watch a Jalen Hurts game, the only thing I ever see is he snaps the ball, he fakes a handoff, he runs out to the right and throws an incomplete pass out of bounds. That's like all I ever see him do. And then every once in a while he'll complete a deep ball or run for like 10 yards and somehow he's QB4. I don't really get it.
Yeah. Whatever.
Anyways, yeah, whatever.
I have him in my big money league, and it's like the most frustrating thing because he has like 7 points going into the fourth quarter every game, and then he gets garbage rushing touchdowns. But
yeah.
Hey, they all count the same.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to our Baltimore Ravens laying the smackdown on the Chargers, absolutely throttling them, skull dragging them, curb stomping them, whatever you want to say. I don't. There's not much else I can say about the Ravens. They barely got one game out of their All-Pro left tackle. They got 0 games out of their Pro Bowl cornerback and starting running back and backup starting running back out for the year. Third string running back out for the year, and they don't miss a beat right now. They're 5-1. They look to be, with the Bills loss, they look to be possibly the best team in the AFC at the moment. Obviously, it's all riding on Lamar's shoulders here. The team goes where he goes, and Lamar looks like an MVP candidate right now, and he's looking amazing. Justin Herbert and company came into town with their high-flying, aggressive offense, and they think they had like 100 yards, 200 yards total offense or something like that. Ravens cover easily 34-6. They cover a 2.5 point spread in this game.
Yeah, the Ravens dominated this game, but didn't really have anyone stand out in terms of, if you just like looked at the box score. But if you watch the game, it was just absolute domination because, the defense was controlling the game. And the Chargers kept turning the ball over on downs. And then all the Ravens touchdowns were, less than 5-yard runs from, their big 3 running backs of Murray, Freeman, and Bell. But it was no one really dominated. Mark Andrews had a nice game. But other than that, it was just everyone played really well. And this coming week is interesting. We'll talk about it on Waiver Wire later in the year, but I have a feeling Latavius Murray is going to be out this week. Okay. It looked like he had a ankle sprain, but he didn't really like roll his ankle. He looked to be in a lot of pain, so I'm thinking it might be a high ankle sprain. So
who do you like then? Freeman or Bell as the next man up, or even Tyson Williams maybe?
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have to dress Tyson Williams, but it would be kind of foolish to pick him since they keep making him a healthy scratch.
Yeah,
I would have to say I'm not dying to start any of them, but Freeman would be the one. If I have to start one of them, I'm starting him over Bell. For sure.
Pay attention to that injury this week. So I mean, obviously, if Latavius plays, if he's active, he's the go-to guy in the backfield there. But yeah, pay attention to that. It's just a smorgasbord of guys back there in the backfield. So don't really know who to go to in this situation if it's not Latavius.
Yeah, Rashad Bateman had more targets than Hollywood.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat that said Rashad Bateman had a target on 30 or 40% of his snaps that he played in the game. So looks like they're easing him into the offense at the moment. He obviously this was his first NFL game. What did he have? He had 4 catches.
Eased him in. They were shoving the ball down his throat.
Yeah, true. Well, no, I meant like he didn't play that many snaps. That's what I meant.
Yeah. He played like 40 some snaps.
Yeah, so he
had a pretty bad drop that was an interception, but
yeah.
Anyway,
but he looks good. Yeah, just I would like to see obviously more and see. He looks big. I'm not gonna lie, like he's bigger than I thought he was. I'm very surprised by his like physical stature.
Yeah, he was. I remember at the combine, a lot of people were disappointed in his size because, in college he kind of looked like the 6'2", 210 pounds, like borderline like AJ Green-ish size. And then when he weighed in, he was like 6 foot exactly, 197 pounds, and everyone was like, "WTF? That's not who we thought you were." But yeah, I mean,
Maybe he just looks big to me because I've been looking at Hollywood Brown for the last couple of years, who's a shrimp. So I don't really know.
no, he's. I think he has deceptive size, and I
Yeah,
think he plays big. I mean, I
yeah,
think we've been saying the comp for a while. Rashad Bateman is Keenan Allen, so I
yeah.
mean that's his size and skill set comp. We'll see if he works out to be as good of a player, but that's who we hope he is.
Yep. Speaking of Keenan Allen, he was probably the lone bright-ish spot on the Chargers this past week. Mike Williams had a dud game. I think he even got kind of hurt a little bit.
Dude,
Typical.
he did his normal Mike Williams game, like 3 or 4 different like passes to him. He just rolled around on the ground like he was
He like catches the ball, goes down, and then he's hurt, and then he's out for a few weeks. Hopefully
yeah.
that's not the case for you, Mike Williams owners out there. He's obviously been a stud as a top 5 wide receiver this year. But Keenan Allen, 5 for 50, not a bad game, but that's just as best as they could do against a vaunted Ravens defense on Sunday.
Yeah. This is a trash can game for the Chargers. They just need to throw this away. Don't look at the box score. Don't read into it. They traveled from West Coast to East Coast. They had a horrible game plan. They didn't execute. Just forget about it. If you own any of the Chargers, I'm not changing my opinion one bit based on this game. You just got to forget about it.
Yep, absolutely. Trash can game, like you said. Just move on, and hopefully they go back to being the Chargers next week. I don't really have much else. Like I said, it's kind of a boring game. I was following it online while I was playing golf, and it's just every time I looked down, the Chargers were driving and either turned the ball over or Ravens got the ball back and then just went down and scored again. And it just seemed like it was like that all game.
Yeah, for sure. Mark Andrews, another great game. I mean, he's looking like a rock solid pick. So
yeah. What is he? What is he at now? Tight end 2 behind Kelsey?
Shit, I didn't even look it up. I'm not even.
I think he's tight end 2 behind Kelsey.
That's probably a good bet. I'll tell you in a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tight end 2.
Tight end 2. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So good work for your Andrews owners out there. Last year, I know he had a lot of people mad for drafting him high and had a pretty poor season last year as far as fantasy goes. But he looks like he's back and looking to be Lamar's favorite target. But yeah, before we move on to our next game, I'm going to give out the bonus code for the Josh Allen helmet giveaway. And that is help someone. So if you type in the words help someone, no spaces, HELPSOMEONE, into your bonus code for this show, you will get an additional 5 entries into the contest. So help someone, no spaces. All right. Let's see here. Next game we're going to talk about, moving on from the Ravens game, we're going to talk about our opponent this week, the Ravens' opponent, the Bengals, going to Detroit and just like the Ravens did, play a really good game, lay the smackdown on the Lions, who are very, very beat up. They were very, very injured in this game. On defense, they just couldn't stop the Bengals whatsoever. Bengals defense looks good. Mixon looks good. Jamar Chase is turning out to be a potential stud here. What are your thoughts on this game, Chris?
Yeah, Jamar Chase is making the NFL look easy. Pretty crazy for like an early declare to come in and just absolutely dominate from pretty much week 1, honestly. He's taking right after Justin Jefferson, his college teammate. So and Burrow from LSU too. That whole team is just coming in the league and just laying the smackdown. But yeah, Burrow's QB 12 on the year. Mixon's running back 12 on the year, and Jamar Chase is averaging almost 100 yards and almost a full touchdown per game. It's unreal. So, I mean, Jamar Chase is dominating so much that T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are like, I'm not going to say irrelevant because they're still,
they're still there.
They're still there and they're easily flex plays, but like, I don't know that you're really liking Higgins or Boyd as your wide receiver 3 right now. I mean, you're probably doing it because that's, as you drafted them, unless you kind of got lucky on the wire throughout the year, but like, you're not confidently starting either of them as wide receiver 3, are you?
I don't know. It depends on who you have. I guess you have to start them if you own them. Like it's tough to not start T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd, just because their offense looks pretty dynamic under Joe Burrow. So it looks like he's really. I mean, obviously we knew he had a rapport with Jamar Chase from college, and it looks like they've translated that to the NFL. But you just got to sit here and hope that he learns to maybe look off Jamar Chase and throw a couple deep bombs to the other guys or hit Tyler Boyd in the slot. So you just got to kind of have that hope. But if it continues this pace, then yeah, maybe you can't play them and have to bench them.
Yeah, just a little worried about Boyd. He's really taken the back seat lately. He has 6 targets or less in 3 out of the last 4 games.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's like you said, you still have to play him just because Burrow has really rounded that corner. And I think this offense and this team in general is on an upward trajectory. So I'm still playing Boyd for another week or two before I'm giving up on him, but not going to lie, a little bit worried.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jesse Bates came back for the Bengals on defense. Their defense is like night and day when he plays. Like he's definitely their captain at safety. So when he came back, it's just like completely different team. So I think the Bengals are a good fantasy play on defense. They've been scoring really well, except for the couple weeks that Bates was out. So
yeah, not this week though against the Ravens.
No, not this week.
I wouldn't play them this week, but yeah,
No.
moving forward, if they have a good juicy matchup against a shitty team, you could definitely play the Bengals defense as a play.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on the Lions? Pretty dud game from them. As usual, Swift and Hawkinson were their only fantasy bright spots, but not even that good of a game for either one of those guys.
Yeah. Swift is like an unreal PPR asset. He has 8, 4, 7, 4, 6, and 5 catches in all of his games this year. It's honestly like he's running back 6 on the year, and I feel like he hasn't even hit stride yet. And, he started the year with an injured groin or hamstring. And I feel like he's not even had really good games yet. And he's still RB6 on probably the worst team in the NFL or close to it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say like the RB6 is a buy low, but I just feel like people aren't really valuing him like quite what he's worth, because if he's RB6, when on a team that's only scoring 13 points a game or something like that, just imagine if they actually improve and, he catches fire, because he has like weekly RB1 upside with his use.
Are the Lions ever going to win a game this year?
We said they might not, right?
Yeah, we said it.
Between the Texans and the Lions, they were fighting for who could have the least amount of wins.
Yeah, they're definitely in the running for the number 1 pick. I can't imagine them not having a top 5 pick this upcoming year and getting a stud out of college, but they got a lot of work to do on that team. They need more pieces on defense. They have some good pieces on offense. Obviously, we know about that. They also need a solid signal caller and a quarterback. Jared Goff is not going to get them anywhere moving forward. He's probably going to be their backup next year, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Just one more thing on the Lions. Their receivers are pretty much a 0. And Hawkinson has had he had 2 or 3 pretty down weeks, and then he did pretty good this week. And I was I own him in a lot of leagues, so I was kind of curious of what's going on. So I was like looking at some Lions, reporters and beat writers and stuff. Apparently he was playing hurt for a couple weeks. So if you have Hawkinson and you're kind of getting frustrated, they were saying he played hurt for a couple weeks, and then we
didn't get anything like that on our injury report, right? For him,
he's been questionable for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and he doesn't practice all week, and then he plays. So they were saying that this past week is like the first week he's been pretty much all the way healthy. So if you've been frustrated with him, stick it out, because I think he's turning the corner on that injury, and they literally have no one else. It's just him and Swift. So ride it out.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be benching Hawkinson, even if unless you have a stud tight end in a some weird league or whatever. But if you drafted Hawkinson, I don't think you're benching him for anybody.
I know. I just feel like people pick up like Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, I guess.
Dawson Knox, and it's like, well, this Hawkinson guy is not doing shit, so what should I do? But
That's when you're getting too cute, and it
I
costs
know,
you in fantasy. But
don't
I
get
could I could see the Dawson Knox and Dalton Schultz pickups wanting to starting them over at Hawkinson, but I don't recommend it. Absolutely not.
no, too much talent there.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't really have anything else in this game. Do you, Chris? No, moving forward. No.
On to Chiefs and Redskins. The
Washington football team, not the Redskins.
I keep saying that.
Chiefs in Washington. Chiefs go into Washington. Washington looks really bad this year. They're 2-4 now. Chiefs cover a -6.5 point spread in this game. Pretty all around, pretty good game from Patrick Mahomes, I would say. Almost 400 yards passing. His brother's busy dancing on the Sean Taylor Memorial, and people are getting mad at him because of that. Guy's an absolute fool. He shouldn't be anywhere near an NFL stadium, but that's just my opinion. That's for another podcast. But for the actual football game, this was a pretty poor performance from Washington against a bad Chiefs defense. I was expecting more. I picked up a lot of Ricky Seals-Jones on a lot of leagues and played him this week, and I played him in DFS, and he got there with a touchdown. But other than that everything else was pretty blah for them.
Yeah, Heineke. I don't know what his ownership was in DFS this week. I didn't play anything, but I played him in a couple leagues, like 2 leagues when I was streaming quarterbacks, and he absolutely shit the bed. So that was pretty bad. But yeah, my main takeaway on this game is Antonio Gibson's hurt, dude.
Yeah, JD McKissic is not touching him.
Yeah, I think they're playing him, but he had 2 touchdowns last week, so I think people overlooked it. But he just doesn't look good, and he's not getting the lion's share of the carries. He has a broken tibula, shin bone.
I just saw shin splints. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he has like a hairline fracture in his shin or something, and he said, "Oh, it hurts a little bit, but I'm playing." Yeah. I don't know, man. He doesn't look good. So if I were the football team, I would just shut him down, put him on at least, the 3-game IR. So I think McKissic's a great play. This is crazy about McKissic. He's running back 22 on the year, and that's in half PPR leagues. I didn't look up what he is in PPR leagues. In half PPR, he's running back 22, and he only has 1 game with over 23 rushing yards. And he only has 2 TDs on the year.
He catches a lot of balls.
I know. It's like if Gibson misses any time and you have McKissic in a PPR league, he's like a high-end RB2.
But if let's just say Antonio Gibson is out, is McKissic the workhorse back, or does he just keep his role and Jarrett Patterson is the workhorse back?
I think he keeps his role plus 20%, 30%, right? Because Patterson's not going to take all of Gibson's work.
Right.
But yeah, we'll talk about Patterson on Waiver Wire. I like him a lot. Yeah. He was an absolutely dominant college player, and he looked outstanding in the preseason too.
Yeah. And I mentioned him last week in the Waiver Wire section. So if you were listening and picked him up and stashed him, just hold on to him because he's definitely going to be a play soon, I think, because like you said, I think they should shut Gibson down for a little bit till he gets healthy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, they're not competing, I don't think, this year. So we'll see what they do. But if they decide to shut him down for the year, Patterson's like an elite pickup. But I mean, he's like spend all your fab money kind of pickup. So if you can be 1 week early on that and get him on the cheap this week, because you can probably get him for $1 or $2 this week, because I don't think anyone's really, because they haven't ruled Gibson out. But if they decide on Friday or Saturday, all right, enough is enough, let's just shut him down. I don't know. Got to try to get in early. So anyway,
Chiefs side of the ball,
Darrell Williams did what we thought he was going to do. I mean, inefficient running, but get all the goal line work, because he was getting all the goal line work even when Clyde was healthy.
Yep.
So you have to start him every week if you have him. He's
pretty good game from him. Like, he had almost 90 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns. I would say that you can start him with confidence week to
I
week.
feel like when Clyde comes back, he's going to ruin both of them. Like he's also not going to be good,
Yeah.
like he hasn't been, and then he's going to ruin Darrell Williams. Anyway,
Kelsey and Hill had Kelsey and Hill type games.
Ho hum, like not
Yeah.
even worth mentioning.
Yeah.
You know what you got with them.
Yeah, 8 for 99 from Kelsey, and it's a ho hum game. That's how good he is.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, I wish we could get 8 from 99. Well, we can, but most teams wish they could get that out of their tight end every week. Yeah, but I don't really have much else to say about the Kansas City game. They beat a bad team here, coming off of a couple porous performances over the last few weeks. I think they're going to be one of these teams that this year they beat up on the bad teams and they struggle against good teams, and that's just like who the Chiefs are going to be this year until they have some modicum of a defense. So against good teams, when they're favored for low spreads, I would like taking the underdogs against them. But against bad teams like Washington, and when they eventually play like the Broncos or something like that, I would definitely hammer down on the Chiefs on those games.
Sounds fair.
Yeah. Anything else on this game before we move on?
No, just one more thing about football team. I think Terry McLaurin played hurt too. He was, I don't know that he really practiced at all. And then he played and he has a hamstring. So I don't know. He didn't look right. And he didn't really get targeted a whole bunch. So I don't know. I would be careful with him. If he goes all week again this week and doesn't practice and then he's active, I'm just going to straight up bench him. I just hot take. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm not going to say he was a decoy because they don't have any reason to run a decoy out there. But
yeah,
I just with injuries like groins or hamstrings, like soft tissue, if they're not practicing, that means it's really tender and I don't know. I just don't want to play them because I feel like those kind of injuries, you favor them when you're trying to play in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Not effective.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to a little bit more of an exciting game in the Vikings at the Panthers. Vikings go into Carolina as a 1 to 2 point favorite, depending on where you got them, and cover the spread, win the game. Looking good in this game for sure. Big game from Cook, big game from Thielen, nice game from Jefferson. Darnold looked like old Darnold again after a bad week last week also. Not much life out of the Panthers in this game. So definitely a good win for the Vikings on the road here. Chuba looking like he's doing what he needs to do in the backfield to fill the CMC role while he's hurt on IR. But other than that, it's a pretty blah game from the Panthers offense.
Yeah, Darnold is looking like a bit of fool's gold all of a sudden. I mean, he started off so hot, but I mean, he had a freaking awful game at home against a Vikings defense that isn't all that good. So I'm a little worried there. When CMC's, shocker, when the best running back in the league isn't playing, they look worse.
Yeah.
But anyway, why did the Panthers do what they did with him? They didn't put him on IR. They let him sit out 2 weeks. And then they decided to put him on IR.
And he was practicing. Like he was going to play.
He had to re-injure it in practice, right?
That's what I'm thinking. He had to re-aggravate it.
Soft tissue, man. I'd rather have like almost any injury except like a hamstring.
Yeah, they should have just if it was, they were initially saying it was like a grade 1 hamstring pull or whatever. They should have just put him on IR then and let him heal up for a few weeks and let him hang out with his hot girlfriend, Olivia Culpo. If you follow them on Instagram, they're a cute little couple. But yeah, he just he's sitting at home now. He's recovering for the next few weeks. So we'll see how he is when he gets back. But I would be a little worried if I was a CMC owner.
For sure. Chuba's filling in pretty nicely. And if you got him, whatever it was, 3 or 4 weeks ago, it's definitely paying off because you're going to have 5 weeks of being able to use him. Mm-hmm. So, and he's performing well. So, you definitely got your money's worth with the Chuba pickup. And, oddly enough, we thought the Panthers were going to have like a 3-way receiver attack with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Terrace Marshall. And DJ Moore is the only startable one right now. I mean, Terrace Marshall is long gone droppable, sadly. And Robbie Anderson got in the end zone, but he's worthless, man. He's not doing anything. So, but DJ Moore, you know,
three catches on 11 targets for Robbie Anderson. That's so bad.
He's not good. But yeah, back to the Vikings. You said how good everyone else did, except for my man, Kirk Cousins. The dude's unreal. I mean, he just does it every game. I don't understand like how this guy is so consistent. He's got to be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, I feel like I say it every week, but like, no one ever appreciates Kirk Cousins.
Because he's not that good. Like he's good, but he's not that good. Like he's a good fantasy quarterback. He wins games every once in a while, but he's not the type of quarterback that's gonna take them to the promised land. Like he's not that star quarterback. He's just okay.
Yeah, it just really bugs me that
it's weird that he puts up such good numbers.
But Baker Mayfield gets like more ESPN FaceTime than Kirk Cousins, and it's not even close. It's like 3x. Yeah, and they're like vastly different in talent.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about Kirk Cousins. He very, very nice game from Adam Thielen this week. Surprisingly, for this whole year, it seems like all they've been doing is looking at him like in the red zone, but they actually looked at him everywhere else on the field this game.
Yeah, he's Father Time's not affecting him yet, so it's nice to see. Dalvin Cook, I guess he's back fully healthy. I don't know. It's like he's either on the field like ripping off big runs, or he's like stretching on the sideline and like riding the bike. It's like really weird.
Who is that?
Dalvin Cook.
Was he back on the bike this game?
What?
Was he hurt this game?
Yeah, he was like when he wasn't in, he seemed to be like trying to stay limber or whatever.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, but he got 29. He got like 29 carries, so I guess he's back. But
I mean, yeah, I just saw the box score 29 for 1. I didn't watch this game, so 29 for 140. That seemed like a really good Cook game.
Yeah, and Madison is like a really frustrating player because he's literally not startable whatsoever when Cook plays. But then the second that Cook's out, he's
RB1. Yeah.
He's like the most frustrating person. It's like he's like the anti-Pollard, right? It's like you think that you should be able to start him even when Cook plays, but you can't. So I know there's probably a lot of people out there that get the huge game from Madison and they're like, oh, the team has to like him. I'm going to play him again, and it never works out.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I don't really know what to say about that. It just seems like when Cook plays, they're paying him all that money. He's going to get the touches and he's going to start. And they've developed a really good run scheme there, I guess. I guess they learned it over the last couple of years with like Gary Kubiak running that offense.
Stefanski.
And Stefanski. Yeah. You just can only play him when Cook is hurt. I mean, that's
what's you probably have box score up. What did KJ Osborne do? I'm just curious.
He had a good game. He had 6 for 78 and the game-winning touchdown.
He's unreal, dude. Yeah. Where did that guy come from?
I don't even know. I don't even know where he played in college. I don't know where he was drafted. He just popped up out of nowhere.
I think he's fully rosterable. I mean, I don't think
he's startable in flex if you're in a pinch.
Yeah, good for him, man.
I don't really have much from this game. You got anything else from this game that you want to talk about? Darnold 17 for 41. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, what's that, like 40-some%? Yeah, he's. No, I think he's off my streaming radar for now. He's had 2 bad games in a row.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with him. So yeah,
you would think he would play good against the bad Vikings defense, but apparently he just had a hot start to the season and he's cooling off now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 2 QB leagues, he's still a start, but 1 QB leagues, I'm not playing him even in good matchups until I see him right the ship.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next game here. We're going to talk about Cardinals at Browns in a weird line for this game. The Browns were actually favored by a field goal in this game. against a much better Cardinals team, I think. So it seemed pretty obvious on paper to bet the Cardinals in this game, but a lot of sharp people were on the Browns in this game for some reason, and they all lost. So Cardinals, only undefeated team left in the league. Baker Mayfield looked very bad, very hurt in this game. He shouldn't be playing, and he's not playing this upcoming week. Case Keenum is starting for the Browns on Thursday. He looks very hurt. His non-throwing shoulder looks not is like he's just dangling there. So, yeah, I don't really know what to expect from the Browns moving forward with Case Keenum, but they need to shut down Baker for a little bit to get him healthy.
Yeah, for sure. His stat line was propped up by end of the first half Hail Mary to Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah.
So I think without that, I hate to say without that play, but without that play, he had like 150 passing yards.
Yeah.
So
that play was so frustrating. It essentially cost me I bet the under in this game pretty heavy, and it cost me the under in this game.
Yeah, but the Browns, I don't feel for them because they're in the Ravens division. So of course I don't, but you got to kind of feel for them. Baker's hurt, Chubb's hurt, Hunt's hurt, Landry's hurt. Odell Beckham's going to get hurt. So
everybody is in the hospital for them right now.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll probably talk a little bit about waiver wire with Browns in a little bit. But yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones had a really nice game. Even if you take away the Hail Mary catch, I mean, he still performed really nice. Only thing with that is I think Landry's coming back this week.
Yeah.
Plus you have Case Keenum in at quarterback. So just a spoiler alert, I'm not picking up Donovan Peoples-Jones. I just think it's kind of fool's gold that
you don't think Case Keenum's an upgrade over Baker Mayfield?
It's probably even trade.
I'll tell you what, let me see what it is right now. I know when the line opened before they didn't know the injury status of Baker. Yeah, so it was -3 and now it's down to -1.5 with the Baker news. So Vegas definitely thinks it's a 1.5 points worse for Case Keenum. But the big news, obviously, from this game is Kareem Hunt gets carted off. Looks like a pretty serious knee injury. His season might be done. I'm not sure. He's definitely out for a few weeks. I'm not really sure what the injury was, but
I think it's an MCL sprain.
MCL sprain. Okay, so that's at least like
3 to 5 weeks.
3 to 5 weeks. Yep.
It's I think it's same as David Montgomery's injury.
Okay. And then Chubb is also out this week, so we'll talk about him on waiver wires. Dearness Johnson looks like the number one back there with some Demetric Felton mixed in. But yeah, like you said, Donovan Peoples-Jones, good game for them receiving. And then the other side of the ball, good game from Kyler. Did his thing, 229 yards passing on 20 pass completions, very efficient, 4 touchdowns. Big game from all the receivers. It looks like everyone got in the end zone except Rondell Moore. But my biggest thing here is pretty tough to decide what to do with this backfield. I think James Conner and Chase Edmonds are both startable, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I'm still leaning Edmonds in PPR. Just because Connor doesn't get the work in the pass game.
Yeah.
But I will say that I'm pleasantly surprised how good James Conner's looked. I mean, I don't think he got in the end zone this game, but man, he's looking like he still has some miles on him. So, good on him for taking on a new team and revitalizing his career a little bit. So he's definitely still relevant. He's a nice RB3 flex play. Moving forward on this good offense. What did surprise the shit out of me is AJ Green is a must start.
You think so?
He's wide receiver 35 on the year, and I feel like his usage is going up lately. I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like his target. I mean, you know me. Like I didn't pay him any mind when he, had a decent game or two earlier in the year, but I can't keep watching him score and having nice games and say, oh, it's a fluke. we're 7 weeks in. It's not a fluke anymore.
Yeah, and now they add Zach Ertz to that offense. There's just so many mouths to feed. It's tough to say who you can start with confidence besides DeAndre Hopkins. To be completely honest with you, like you're seeing AJ Green, but next week it's gonna be Christian Kirk or Rondell Moore. It's tough. It's tough for me, but I guess if you have to, especially with buys coming up, you got to start them.
Yeah. Week 7 this week is just friggin' awful for buys across the board. There's so many teams that have buys this week.
Yeah.
That everyone's lineup is going to be hit
Crap.
in some way. So
Yeah.
I think during weeks 7, 8, 9, 10, he's an easy play for me. But yeah, I'm with you on the backfield struggle. It's kind of weird how they're not using Edmonds, because he played really good at the beginning of the year, and now they're just kind of not using him the last couple games.
But he's still getting his touches though, right? He got let's see here, 4 for 46 on the ground, and then he had 3 catches. Okay, that's nothing to
7 touches is not.
Yeah.
I mean, Edmonds you should be able to rely on as like a back end RB2 or like a pretty strong flex play.
Yeah, true. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I guess if he's not getting anywhere in the range of 15 touches, you're not happy
even
about
like, I feel like with him, you deal with 12. I mean, on
Yeah.
that offense, 12 touches goes a long way, and 12 is a lot different than 7. I don't know. It's a little concerning, but I'm gonna ride it out. I'm not off of Edmonds yet.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Finally, a decent game for Hopkins. 2 touchdowns is nice. Not that many receiving yards. He had let's see here. He only had 4 targets, which is a little concerning. What are you doing with Hopkins? Are you trying to trade him, or are you holding on to him if you own him, or what are you doing?
No, I think he's just a firm hold. I mean, at least from my point of view, he seems like one of those players. I don't think anyone's in a rush to trade him, nor is anyone in a rush to acquire him.
Yeah.
He's kind of just like okay, I still have Hopkins. Like, he's fine. I don't know try to guess what wide receiver he is in the year, because I don't know either. We'll both guess. In half PPR.
I will guess a wide receiver 22.
Okay, I'm gonna go 16. All right,
16.
And it is 13.
13. Wow.
Yeah. So
that's surprising.
Yeah, he's playing pretty good. So I mean, his one touchdown catch was unreal.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think you're pretty happy with him, and with this offense, the way they roll. I mean, even if he's not getting his patented like 10, 11, 12 targets, it's still valuable targets in this offense. So I'm not worried with him. I mean, shoot, wide receiver 13, you're taking that all day.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Anything else on this game before we move on?
No, I'll cover Dearness Johnson more in the waiver wire.
Okay. All right, let's talk about a roller coaster of a game for me in this Cowboys versus Patriots game. Cowboys win in overtime. This game was, all I could say was a roller coaster for me personally. I had the Cowboys huge in this game at -3. I bet them at money line when they were losing in this game. I had them as part of that parlay with the one that I showed you for big money. And then in the last 2 minutes of the game, there was 3 touchdowns. There was a pick 6 by Trayvon Diggs. Very next play, a touchdown to Kendrick Bourne. And then Cowboys come down again, tie the game up. Great drive, 4th down conversion, and then somehow pull off a miracle cover when all they needed was a field goal. In overtime, they score a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb to cover the spread. So very, very crazy end of the game, to be completely honest with you, but very exciting game. Cowboys look all the part, 5-1.
Yeah, man. Dak with another nice game. What's crazy to me? I feel like Dak has looked a lot better than his stats are reflecting, just because they're running the ball so heavily this year. Yeah. He's QB9 on the year, but I feel like with the eye test, he looks a lot better than that. So I think his trajectory is up. I think he's going to score better eventually because I think he looks amazing. So, yeah, I'm hanging on to him with confidence, even though he's only given you QB9 numbers so far this year.
Yeah.
Is it time for us to both look at each other and agree that we failed on our Zeke bust call?
Yeah, I think we could probably say that at this point. Looks like he is running with a purpose this year.
Yeah, I don't know where he is on the year, but it's probably somewhere around like RB3. So yeah, we'll both eat crow on that one.
Yeah.
We both kind of thought Zeke was washed and Pollard would eventually, carve out a pretty big role, and he is. We weren't wrong on that part. Pollard looks amazing, but Zeke's still there and playing really good too. So
Yeah.
I think we were wrong, but we were also right on Pollard. Guy's going to get a massive contract somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Might be with the Cowboys.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, I think we're also passing the torch from Cooper to CD, right?
Yeah, huge game for CD.
Yeah. So yeah, CD's wide receiver 9 on the year, and Cooper is wide receiver 21. So we said this at the beginning of the year? Doesn't it feel like Mari Cooper's missed 2 or 3 games this year?
Yeah, but
he's played every game. I don't know why. It just seems like he misses games.
5 for 55 this game, so not bad for him. But yeah, you're right. I definitely think CD's the go-to guy in that offense. We'll see what happens with what's his name, Michael Gallup coming back. I think this week or next week. Dalton Schultz has the part there too. But yeah, they look good on offense. Look good on defense. Trayvon Diggs is getting an interception every freaking game. And he made Mac Jones look like a rookie quarterback this past game.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs is unreal. They got a steal in the first round there. Great player. So, yeah. But I think Mac Jones looks awesome. Aside from that pick 6, he's legit, man. I mean,
yeah. I will say one thing about the Patriots. It looks like Damian Harris is carving out that workhorse role, like moving forward.
Yeah, I had that on my notes here. Is that this is his second good game in a row?
Yeah,
and then as soon as I'm big Damian Harris guy. As soon as I said like, yes, let's go, let's keep him rolling, I looked back at the box score and saw that Ramondre Stevenson had like a pretty sizable role in this game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna guess he had like 8 to 10 touches.
Ramondre Stevenson had 8 touches, 5 carries, and 3 catches.
Yeah. So more work in the passing game than Harris got, and it looks like Stevenson is taking Brandon Bolden's role that he only had for like a week or 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's an interesting ad. I want to see how Belichick continues to use him, because obviously he's more of a player than Brandon Bolden is, who's just a special teams player, and he's like 30 years old. So yeah. But anyway, Mac Jones, I mean, he's second best QB in the class so far.
Yeah, I would probably
dare I say best QB in the class so far.
Yeah, what was the class? Lawrence, Wilson.
I mean, Wilson and Lance and
Fields
are no's.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said that Mac Jones is playing better than Trevor so far.
Yeah.
Anyway,
best quarterback in the class. That's surprising. You owning any of these Patriots wide receivers? I kind of like Jacoby Myers, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. So he still hasn't had a touchdown in his NFL career, right?
Yeah.
And he had one called back. So I remember it was a pretty nice touchdown he had called back, and I was like, oh no, like you got to give the man a touchdown eventually. But anyway, yeah, Jacoby Myers is, I think, the only startable one. And then Hunter Henry is, I think, a must start. He's had a touchdown in 3 straight games.
Yeah.
So unless you have one of these elite tight ends, Hunter Henry's pretty much a must start for me. But anyway, we have a question, and then we'll come back and finish up this game.
Okay.
I'll
Let
read
me
it to
see.
you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Would you trade Antonio Gibson for Mike Williams and Dernis Johnson in full PPR? And my other two running backs are Austin Eckler and James Robinson. So you are in a tough spot right now, my friend Nick, because Eckler and James Robinson both have week 7 buys.
Yeah.
So would you trade Gibson for Mike Williams and Dernis Johnson? So Gibson, you will get to play him this week, which is a good thing. Mike Williams has a bye, right?
Yeah, the Chargers have a bye.
So I think Dearness Johnson is kind of I was going to talk about it in waiver wire. I think he's like a 0. He's probably a 1 week start because Chubb is coming back in a week, maybe 2 weeks tops.
Yeah.
And they play the Broncos this week, which has number 1 against running backs. So Dearness Johnson is not someone we're excited to play. I mean, I think it's an absolute like in a pinch situation. Because it's only for 1 week. I don't know. This one's tough, man, because it all rides on the Gibson's injury. So if Gibson was healthy, this is an instant decline for me.
I think for me, long term, for the rest of the season, I would do it. I would take the Williams part of it, just because you have Eckler and James Robinson, who are beasts.
So you get that long term. It's just you have to think of it as Gibson for Mike Williams. Because Dearness Johnson, you're going to play him this week because your other two running backs are on bye, and then he's not usable ever again. It's full PPR too.
Tough call.
You know what? Do it, because if this Gibson injury, I mean, there's a chance that you just absolutely get a free Mike Williams if this Gibson injury turns out to be something really legit. I mean, I think in fantasy football, injuries are going to happen all the time. If you can get off of an injury and receive a healthy, top end asset in Mike Williams, and get Dearness Johnson as a running back to play for this 1 week in a full PPR with Gibson not really being used a ton in the pass game, I don't hate it. So I'm gonna do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do it too. I agree. Pull the trigger.
Thanks, Nick, for the question.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Please subscribe to the channel if you like our content, and like the video, and enter into the Josh Allen giveaway.
Hey, Nick, one more thing on the trade. So since you're trading Gibson away, hedge your bet a little bit and pick up Jared Patterson.
Yeah, if you can pick up Jared Patterson or JD McKissick, if you can, to be completely honest.
McKissick's probably owned because it's a full PPR league. Overspend on Jared Patterson this week. So whatever you think he's going for, I don't know. He's probably like a $1 to $5 ad this week in normal leagues. Since you're doing this trade, I think it's more important that you fill in with Patterson. So spend like 10 to 15 on Patterson. I just think in this case it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Do you have anything else on the Cowboys game before we move on?
No. What did Schultz do?
He had 5 for 79, and he was wide open on all 5 receptions.
Dude, you get so tilted that Dalton Schultz is always
no one guards him. I just don't understand it.
So what's your take on him? He's not good. He's just a luck box.
No, I just don't get it. I think the defenses pay so much attention to the wide receivers, they just leave Dalton Schultz wide open in the middle of the field, and he's just open. That's why he's so good.
You've literally got mad at this like 4 weeks in a row.
Dude, I was watching every play of that game, and like every time that there were Dalton Schultz, there's no one near him, and I'm just like, I don't understand it. I mean, I was liking it because I was rooting for the Cowboys, but I just don't get it. Like, why is no one guarding him? He's not that good.
Their play design, killing it.
Yeah, maybe. Kellen Moore, man, going to be a head coach next year somewhere.
True.
But yeah, that's it. He's a every week starter. I think at least until we see what happens when they get Gallup back.
Yeah, he's coming back. What, soonish.
Next week or the week after, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to the Sunday night game here. Seahawks versus Steelers. This was another exciting game in overtime. Seahawks were not looking the greatest in the first half with Geno Smith. Then they came back in the second half, looked really good in the second half. They turned it on, sent it to overtime, and TJ Watt did TJ Watt things and created some sacks and caused a fumble that ended the game.
Yeah. Kind of a boring game for me, or maybe that's just because I had a lot of money and fantasy games on the line with Tyler Lockett, and I was just hating the TV the entire time. But yeah, Geno Smith, what's his stat line? Because I already have my opinion that his stat line was probably fine, but he looks like absolute garbage.
23 of 32 for 209 and a touchdown.
So, no interception, pretty high completion rate, threw for some yards. He's freaking terrible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you felt the same way, but in the first half of that game, he was like borderline. He was so tilting how bad he was.
Yeah, he was not playing that good. I mean, it was this. Did you know that was Geno Smith's first NFL career start?
No way.
Yeah, it was his first ever career NFL start.
I did not know that. Well, good for him.
Yeah, I think every time he's come into a game, either when the quarterback got injured or he was just a backup, but it was his first NFL start, and he looked like it was his first NFL start. He just looked nervous at the beginning and not that great, and just goes to show how good Russ is with this team, because he makes such a huge difference at quarterback.
Yeah, the Seahawks came out in the second half and said, our only chance to win this game is just pound the rock and, heavy offensive line and just hope it works. And it did. Ran the ball down the Steelers' throat on the first drive of the second half. I think they did it on another drive too, shortly thereafter. Alex Collins had a really nice game. He looked better than his stat line even showed. I mean, it seemed like he did better than what he was like 20 for 100 or something like that.
Yeah, 20 for 101. Yeah, and a touchdown.
In my opinion, he even looked better than that. I mean, he had a lot of juice, a lot of missed tackles, but he got banged up at the end of the game. So this is going to be an interesting situation with Chris Carson out for undisclosed amount of time. We don't really know. It could be 1 week, could be another 3 or 4 weeks. And Alex Collins may be hurt. So Rashad Penny's due off IR this week.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's healthy.
No,
he sucks too.
Yeah. I promised myself I would never play Rashad Penny ever again, no matter what the circumstances are. So one of my waiver wire pickups of the week is DJ Dallas. I'm not playing Rashad Penny, nor will I, put my name near his anywhere ever.
You like DJ Dallas?
Yeah, love him.
DJ Wiki? Yeah,
he's a solid PPR player. He was in college. I think he played for Miami. He was kind of like a, Antonio Gibson type, like a slot receiver, hybrid running back role. He's got really good hands, and I feel like he's a 3-down skill set. So we'll see what they do. But if Collins is out and Carson continues to be out, I'm firing up DJ Dallas, baby, in PPR.
Travis Homer?
No.
Okay. Other side of the ball, Steelers look okay. Roethlisberger looks okay. Najee looked okay. I don't really have much there. Deontay Johnson looks like he's the go-to wide receiver. Chase Claypool kind of sucks.
Yeah. He definitely didn't have a good game. Deontay, if he already wasn't, cemented himself wide receiver 1. I mean, he's the much better route runner. He's more explosive. Yeah, and it hurts to say because me and you both like Claypool a lot, but yeah, I think he's still going to have a good year with Juju out. But Roethlisberger, Deontay's been his guy for 2 years now. I'm literally just sulking because my biggest money league, guess who I've traded away?
No.
I drafted Jamar Chase and Deontay Johnson, and I traded them both away after week 2 because my wide receivers were Diggs and Lockett.
And who did you get?
Hawkinson and Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
So it's like, well, I traded both of them and Miles Sanders, but he sucks. So anyway, but it's really upsetting that in the same league, which I'm now desperate for wide receiver help, I at one time had Deontay Johnson and Jamar Chase.
And Tyler Lockett
and Tyler Lockett and Stephon Diggs. and Brandon Ayuk, who sucks.
Who sucks too. But imagine if you had those guys now.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have Jonathan Taylor, so that's why I like.
Wait, you said this is a keeper league or a dynasty league? No, just a redraft league.
No, it's the Orioles league.
Okay,
so yeah, our strategy in the draft was we basically completely punted QB and tight end, like completely, and we went for like a really robust, wide receivers and running backs, and we just kept drafting them even like into our bench, and we just traded our bench away for Hawkinson and Jalen Hurts was our drafted quarterback, so it's worked out pretty good.
That's good.
Anyway, I got a cool stat for you. Najee Harris is running back 3 on the year in half PPR. Guess how many targets he has in 6 games?
10? I don't know. I have no idea.
He had 19 in one game.
He had 19 targets in one game? What? That can't be right. Wow. How many targets does he have on the year?
46.
How is that possible?
I don't know. It's like, yeah, confirmed. Can you read that?
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Holy shit. 49 targets?
46.
46 targets? That's crazy for a running back. Ben Roethlisberger is a check down king, I guess, now.
Yeah. I mean, Najee's like one of the values of fantasy football so far. I mean, I'm trying to think what running back he was being drafted at. Probably somewhere around like RB 11 to 15.
You mean preseason?
Yeah, preseason.
He was a top 10 running back. He was going like middle of the second round.
Right, that's not top 10. I mean, in most leagues, like of the 12 picks, there was like 9 running backs in the first round.
Okay. Yeah, top 15 running back. Yeah.
Pretty solid value.
Yeah.
So
talk to me about Pat Freiermuth.
Freiermuth?
Freiermuth.
Yeah. He's
Is he startable?
Yeah, I mean, I think his usage is definitely up since Juju's out. And I noticed that him and Ebron were on the field a lot at the same time. So with them losing Juju, they're probably running, I don't have the stats on it, but probably running less 3 wide receiver sets and more double tight end sets. And Eric Ebron's old, and Pat Freiermuth would have been easily the best tight end in a rookie tight end class if Mr. Kyle Pitts wasn't there. Freiermuth's a beast, man. I mean, he looks awesome. He's like, I don't know, Hawkinson Fant-esque skill set.
Okay. We have a question in the chat here. He said he only has 5 minutes left on break. Please answer. Okay, so a question from Mike. Thanks for the question. He says, trade alert, CMC for Adam Thielen and Miles Sanders need a wide receiver to make playoffs. Okay. You need a wide receiver to make playoffs in week 7. That's a little weird. I don't really know how to answer that question. I mean, I would do it. You're getting the best player in CMC who's going to be back in a couple weeks. But if you're
no, he has CMC.
Oh, you have CMC? No, I probably would not do that. I would ride out the injury, and you can pick up someone or even trade for someone down the road that's going to fill the shoes of Adam Thielen. And I think Miles Sanders is just not worth it.
Please don't entertain that trade. No,
Yeah.
keep McCaffrey. It doesn't matter if you make the playoffs. If you trade away the best player in fantasy football, you're not going to win. So you might as well stash McCaffrey, try to get in some other way through, another trade or another waiver addition. And then when you get to the playoffs, you want the best player in fantasy football on your team. So that's a hard no for me.
It's always easier to replace a wide receiver or pick up a wide receiver. They come in bunches.
Did you see his new message? He said he also got offered for CMC, Ridley, and Swift. Yeah, I'm smashing that all day.
Yeah, I would do that end of the trade, not the Thielen.
If you can get Ridley and Swift for CMC, who's out for another 2 weeks, that's a slam dunk trade, and that's a perfect trade for a team that is desperate, and you've been missing CMC. Yes, if you can do CMC for Ridley and Swift, that is a hard yes, and Thielen and Sanders is a very, very hard no.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, he said he's accepting. He has Mike Evans, Devontae Smith, Woods, and Cooks. Why do you need a wide receiver? You have some good wide receivers there.
I'm confused.
Yeah. No, but I would do it. That's fine.
Yeah, he is inconsistent. Good call. And Woods hasn't done much for you so far. All right. So, I mean, honestly, I don't even care what your roster looks like. I'm trading CMC for Ridley and Swift.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care if you're weak at running back, weak at wide receiver, strong. Do it.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. Thanks for the question, Mike. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And we do this every week. We are here to answer your questions.
You want to give them the code one more time?
Sure. If you're in the contest to win the Josh Allen helmet, please use bonus code help someone, no spaces in that, help someone for your 5 additional entries this week.
Yep, the link is right below us down in the YouTube, so click on that, and bunch of different ways to get entries to win that awesome signed helmet. Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, it's in the description of the video. Click the link and be entered in the draw to win a Josh Allen autographed helmet from us. All right, we are going to talk about the very last game of the week here, Bills and Titans. Very, very disappointing game for Bills Mafia. Very disappointing game for Riku Mukherjee here. I had a huge parlay, needed the Bills to cover -6. I hedged with the Titans at +7.5. So I ended up winning the hedge for not that much, but I would have really liked to hit that parlay. That would have been really nice. But yeah, exciting game, back and forth game. Derrick Henry did Derrick Henry things. Absolute monster on the field. Bills had a chance to win the game at the end on a 4th and 1 play. They decided to go for it in the scoring range. I believe it was at the 10-yard line, maybe even closer. They decided to go for it. Josh Allen goes for a QB sneak, slips. Isaiah Simmons makes a good play, stops him. I don't disagree with the decision to go there. Obviously, as someone who had Bills -6, I was hoping they kicked the field goal and went to overtime and scored a touchdown and won by 6 to get the push, but that wasn't going to happen in that situation. 4th and 1, you got to go for it, win the game there, and just they couldn't convert, couldn't execute, and they lost the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was, like you said, it was a right call. Josh Allen slipped. I mean, I think if you make that, the game's yours. So,
every analytics guy says you go for it there.
Oh, easily. I don't even think comes down to a decision. I think that is an easy decision, and Bills fans can't really be all that upset. I mean, I know it's hard to have a rough loss like this, but I think the Bills played well. I think they got Derrick Henry'd, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean,
that happens to a lot. That happens to a lot of teams.
It's a game of centimeters. I mean, if Josh Allen just doesn't slip when he plants his foot for the QB sneak, the Bills win that game, and they're widely seen as the best or second best team in the NFL right now. Yeah. So I kind of don't agree that people overreact so much on like power rankings and rest of season outlooks just because of like literally a half a yard on like an unfortunate play. So anyway, Bills Mafia should not be upset at all. I mean, Josh Allen had another great game. They looked like the Bills of old, I mean, the Bills of 2020. Backed off the running game a little bit and let Allen sling it around. He got all his receivers involved this game. Finally, Beasley and Diggs had, what I'd call almost like breakout games. We've kind of been, yearning for Diggs to have a big game. And also Beasley's been taking a backseat lately. So it was nice to see both of them, the focal points of the offense, along with Emmanuel Sanders. And yet again, Dawson Knox, he's not just an emergency valve. They look for him. So, yeah. So I even though the Bills lost this one, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm not super upset. You have it right into your bye week, and you're gonna bounce back in week 8.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried if I was a Bills fan either. The only thing that you obviously could be stressing, you're gonna win the division, you're gonna make the playoffs. You just gotta win the games you're supposed to win, and you're not going to go undefeated during the season. You're going to have games like this. Hopefully you can, finish the season, 13-4 or something like that, and get the number 1 seed. That might be enough to do it. Your competition's obviously going to be the Ravens and the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Titans for that number 1 seed. I don't see anyone else really competing for that number 1 seed, to be completely honest with you. But yeah, I think that's your competition there. So just keep winning games. You'll be there. It'll come down to probably the Ravens and the Broncos. And the Bills for that number 1 seed. Hopefully, as long as there's no major injuries or anything like that. But yeah, you guys will be fine. I'm not too worried about the Bills. They'll bounce back big.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said, when Derrick Henry wants to have one of his games. I don't even know if it's possible to win. I was like thinking about that after the game. If he just has his game when he decides he's not going to get tackled, I literally don't know what kind of effort it takes on the other side of the ball to win the game. I mean, because your defense just gets absolutely obliterated all game long. I mean, there's only so much you can hang against a human like that. The Bills made Ryan Tannehill look like shit. I mean, he looked god awful. AJ Brown, finally showed up, had his best game of the year by far. Julio Jones is hurt again. If you drafted him, you're definitely regretting it. He's done little to nothing for you all game. Yep. And I mean, all year. And the Titans, aside from Derrick Henry, looked pretty bad on both sides of the ball. So I'm not viewing them as a powerhouse team in the AFC, even though they're 4-2. But Derrick Henry is probably gonna bitch slap me for saying that.
Yeah. We'll get back to this game in a second. We have a question. I think it's a question in the chat. I'm not really sure. Hey, Bo Pucks. How are you doing? Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for the question. I'm not really sure. He says, I have Antonio Gibson and CEH. I'm kind of stressed over running back right now. He says his 14-man is Kyler, Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown. That's really good. Antonio Gibson, CEH, Hawkinson. That's fine. AJ Green, Tim Patrick, Jamal Williams. So right now, I wouldn't stress too much. I mean, you're fine riding out Collins if he's healthy. Khalil Herbert had a good game this past week. He looks like the guy while Montgomery is out. But you do have to stress long term here because who knows what's going to happen with Collins and Herbert moving forward, and Gibson and CH not healthy.
Yeah, I mean, hit us with the trade question if you have one coming. Thanks for the background on your team. That really helps, Bo Pucks. But yeah, I think what Rick said is true. Your wide receivers and your quarterback and your tight end are so strong. I think you're going to be able to overcome your running back shortcomings. So
he said he asked if he should trade away Gibson and combo for someone. I would. I think if you can find a deal out there to trade away Gibson, just because we were just talking about we're not liking his injury status moving forward, and the fact that he's getting out touched by McKissick when he's healthy is a little concerning. So he's saying he's in pain on that shin right there. So I would if you can find a good deal, if you can give us a specific deal that you're looking at, we can give you our opinion. But I would try to do something there.
Yeah, I mean, situations like this with Gibson, the reactions from your league mates is going to be polar opposite, right? So there's probably half the teams in your league are thinking, oh, Gibson, like solid buy low. I don't think he's really hurt. I think he's just, a little banged up. He might sit out a week, and then he's going to be an RB1 because he's Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
And I think the other half of your league's not going to touch him with a 10-foot pole. So
he says he thinks he could get Saquon Barkley for Antonio Gibson and Tim Patrick for a guy that has no wide receiver depth. I would do that trade. What do you think?
So Barkley's out for what? What do we think? One more week?
No, I think he's back this week. No,
really?
no, I think he's out this week and back next week.
Yeah. No, you don't want to look for someone. Oh man, this is tough. So let me see. Gibson and Tim Patrick for Barkley. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I want Barkley because, like we said earlier, if you were logged onto the show, if you can, I know Barkley's hurt too, but it's a predictable injury. It's a low ankle sprain, so once it's not sore anymore, he's gonna be fine. So Gibson's injury is not an injury that a doctor can predict, right? We don't know, having a hairline fracture in your shin, what that means. It probably comes down to like a pain tolerance thing. But he's not looking good the past 2 weeks, based on his play and his snap share and his touches. So I think if you can run away from that injury, and I know you're getting into another injury with Barkley, but it's such a predictable injury that is just a low ankle sprain.
And it's not soft tissue like we were talking about before. It's scary with that, but a low ankle sprain like that, he'll be back fine.
And no offense to Tim Patrick, but I don't really care about him in this deal. So you're basically trading Gibson for Barkley, which you want to do. So yeah. Good move for you. You're scratching their itch by giving them Tim Patrick, but it doesn't really hurt you whatsoever because you're loaded at receiver.
Yeah, he says that he'll go for that trade. He thinks he's going to screw him up for this week, but completely honest with you, Bucs, the rest of your team is so strong, especially at wide receiver and at quarterback, that taking one L for a week is not that big of a deal, to be completely honest with you. Like, you got to think of your term long term. You have a stud team and a good chance at making the playoffs and winning a championship. So you have the squad to overcome, bad running back, depth or whatever you're at right now, injury situation. At least ride it out for a couple weeks. And then you will be fine, and you will, as long as everything else stays fine and healthy, you will make the playoffs and have a solid squad in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, fantasy football is I think less about, I mean, it's all about stats, right? But it's like fantasy football, I don't know how to explain it. There's a part of it that I think a lot of people are just really sucky at, that you just have to figure out how to be good at. In this situation right here, you need to understand that if you can somehow grind out a win this week, then you are freaking set, right? Because you get rid of your problem with Antonio Gibson. You have no idea how that's going to work out. And you get Saquon, who's looked pretty damn good this year, after other than the first or second week. Once he got over his injury, he's looked great, had a fluky ankle injury. I really think rest of year you want Barkley. If you can somehow overspend on the waiver wire or find, someone that's there that you can just plug 1 week and get you through week 7.
Yeah, even like a Dearness Johnson, if you can pick him up and play him this week, play him.
Yeah, so I think you have to kind of understand your league and understand where you're at. So your team is really good other than running backs. So do anything possible to patchwork your running backs for this week. And then when Barkley's back next week, and you're eventually going to get CEH back in 2 weeks, I think, dude, you probably have the best team in the league,
Yeah.
because it's a 14-team league. So figure, scrape and claw, add from the wire, make another small trade for a 1 week or 2 week running back, and I think you're set. So good luck.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Bopucks. Please subscribe to the channel. We do this show every week. We have another question from Matt. Thanks for the question. Dynasty PPR trade. Robert Woods, Laviska Shenault, and Mooney or Pittman. Mooney or Pittman. Or is this a 4? Is it 4
No,
Pittman?
4. Oh, it's probably means 4.
4, yeah. Okay, so I think it's Woods, Shenault, and Mooney for Pittman, Tony, and Rondell Moore.
My first question is why? 3 receivers for 3 receivers.
This is a dynasty, so he might be trying to get a little bit younger on his team with Moore and Tony and Pittman.
Yeah, but he's trading Shenault and Mooney away, which are both young players.
Yeah, well,
okay. Let's break this down a little bit. Okay, so Robert Woods and Michael Pittman, more or less, I think, are kind of a wash in the dynasty landscape, right? I think they're the 2 best players in the deal.
I agree there. I lean more towards Robert Woods. I think he's still fine. He's in a better offense.
Yeah, he's what, 29, 30 years old.
Yeah.
So I think Woods is the best player in the deal, but not by a lot. Pittman's looking pretty good lately. Okay, so we'll say, slight edge to the Woods side so far. Okay, then you have Shenault and Mooney for Tony and Rondell Moore. So I like the Tony and Rondell Moore side of that more.
So do I.
Probably by a significant margin. So I hate to overreact on Tony, but sometimes you have to overreact in order to acquire the player before they really go nuclear.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is really freaking good at football, like really good. So I think if you're getting the Pittman, Tony, Moore side, you're getting 3 players all within their first 2 years who have all really flashed like immediately in the NFL. And you're giving up, Woods, who's the best asset, but he's aging. Chenault's been really inconsistent, and Mooney is on a team with a quarterback who's not adjusted to the NFL, on a team that does not want to throw the ball. So I know it's dynasty and a lot of things can change, but I think Pittman, Tony, and Moore is the right side of the deal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll also give you my hot take on that, and I just don't think Laviska Shenault's that good, to be completely honest with you. I think he is, for some reason, he's some sort of darling in the fantasy community, but if you look at his game logs, he's just not that good. He doesn't put up the numbers that you would expect someone to be, who is expected to be the wide receiver 1 on that team, I guess, to put up. So I definitely like the Pittman, Tony, and Moore side of that, because I think moving forward in the future, Tony and Moore are going to be studs for sure. Pittman, we'll see.
Yeah. He's looked pretty good. He mossed the Ravens, so that's stuck in my head for right now.
Who did? Pittman? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. They still lost that game. Who cares?
Yeah. Thanks, Matt, for the question.
He says I love Laviska, but I hate Urban personally. Well, I just want to know why you love Laviska. He's not that. He makes like 2 good plays a game, like 1 good play a game. I don't see it.
So we're about to find out how good Laviska is or isn't in like the next 3 or 4 weeks, right? Yeah. Because Chark's out of the lineup. All they have really besides that is Marvin Jones and Dan Arnold. So we're about to find out. But you're right. I mean, Urban Meyer is kind of a disease. It seems like
he's gone. He's gone soon, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, I think you're on the right side of the deal. I mean, to get, this is the hardest part of trading. You're not going to get good players unless you give up good players that other people want. I mean, for every trade, the other side of the trade also thinks that they won the deal. So like people just expect to like get great players and not give anything up. I mean, you have to give up someone that you probably like a lot, but yeah, I like your side of the deal.
He says Laviska is a yak monster. I've seen him chuck entire secondaries on one play several times. Yeah, it's one play a game. That's all it is.
Yeah,
I need more consistency out of him. I'm just not a Laviska guy, but I understand it. A lot of people are.
yeah, he's a physical specimen, and if he got into the right coach's hands, you could do a lot of fun things with him. Would love to see him on like the Chiefs or something.
I'm gonna make a comparison here, because we're seeing it currently in the NFL. Laviska reminds me of someone. He's just being misused. I'm not saying they're the same player, but he's being misused how Cordell Patterson was being misused prior in his career. And now that he's on Atlanta, they finally figured out how to use him correctly. Arthur Smith figured it out. If a coach can figure out how to use Laviska Shenault properly, he's going to be a stud. So yeah, I get it. But I just make that trade. I think you already said you made the trade, so I like your end of the trade better. But yeah, thanks for the question, Matt. Please subscribe to the channel. We're here every week. Bopucks had another quick question. He said, real quick, pick 2 PPR for flex. I'm assuming that's for this week. AJ Green, Tim Patrick, Alex Collins, Herbert, or Jamal Williams. Go ahead. I'll let you go. I'll let you pick those 2.
Okay. If Alex Collins is a starting running back, I think he's my top play of the group, regardless. So yeah, if Collins is the number 1 running back, you have to play him over, those collection of people. And then my second pick is AJ Green, unless Damian Williams is out. If Damian Williams is out, I'm playing Khalil Herbert as my number 2.
Okay. So let me look up what they're saying about Damian Williams. The reason why this is tricky is because the Seahawks play on Monday night. So not 100% sure what Alex Collins' situation is going to be. Maybe Sunday, we don't know. But it's saying that Adam Schefter reports Damian Williams is COVID positive and will be sidelined for week 6 against the Packers. So Damian Williams is not going to. No, that was week 6.
Week 6.
Okay, so we don't got any news of whether or not he's going to be back this week or not. So my suggestion would be, if you're going to, you got to pay attention to the news here. If Damian Williams is not playing, I think you should go with Green and Herbert. If they announce that Alex Collins is fine, you're going to play Alex Collins. But if you don't know on Sunday the situation with Alex Collins, on Monday night, you can't play him. You have to play AJ Green and Herbert. If Damian Williams is back and you don't know the situation of Alex Collins, I think you got to go AJ Green and Tim Patrick.
Yeah, this is rough because Patrick plays on Thursday. Okay, so
Patrick plays on Thursday. Yeah.
All right. So let's think about this, because I don't like playing a player on Thursday if I could have a later situation materialize into a much better play. If you have a backup to Tim Patrick that's reasonable, which I think you do here, right? So if it's me, I'm not going to feel stressed and I got to get Tim Patrick into my lineup on Thursday. Relax. It's Tim Patrick. I don't think if you play him, then you're stuck with it, right? Yeah. So I think you have 2 running back situations that could take off, right? If Alex Collins and Herbert are both the starting running backs on their teams, you're playing both of them easily over Tim Patrick, and it's not even a question if they all played at Sunday at 1, right? You agree, Rick?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
So because you have, chances are one of those 2 is probably going to materialize into a starting running back on Sunday. So I'm not going to play Patrick because I don't want to handcuff myself that, say both of those running back situations work out and I freaking played Tim Patrick, I'm going to be pissed. Right. So I'm going to hold off on him.
Yeah. So don't play Tim Patrick tomorrow. Wait for some more news to come out about Collins and Damian Williams. And then if you're in a pinch on Sunday and you need to pick someone up and play them. And then if you get some more news of Collins and being out or something like that, but then I think you're probably you have to play AJ Green at that point. I wouldn't play Jamal Williams. He's not getting any sort of workload at all with DeAndre Swift being healthy. So it's a tough situation. Don't play Tim Patrick tomorrow. Just wait until Sunday to see if we get some more news. And then if you have any questions or still in a pinch, feel free to tweet at us or send us a message on Twitter, and we'll be happy to answer it for you.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, hey, Jake, how you doing? Jake's the co-host with Mike for the Bills show. Thanks for the compliment there. Let's go on to so Mark Yasko has a question. He says, how bad is Antonio Brown's injury this week? I got the same news as you do. I'm looking at Roto World right now. He didn't practice today. All they're saying is really right now is he's dealing with an ankle sprain. It doesn't say high ankle sprain. If it was a high ankle sprain, he'd be out. So I'm thinking it's just some sort of like low ankle sprain where he's trying to probably tough it out and play this week. You obviously got to wait until the news comes out. Let me see.
Yeah, if Antonio Brown has a jersey on, you're playing Antonio Brown. I don't give a shit what they say about his ankle. You need a contingency plan. So whenever you have
they play in the late slate on Sunday. So they play in the 4:00 slate on Sunday. So have a backup plan for sure if he's out. Somebody maybe in the late games or Monday night game. I know that Marcus Callaway is available in a lot of leagues and stuff like that. So if you have a contingency plan to pick someone up, you should get some more news about it tomorrow. Just pay attention to every practices tomorrow and Friday, and then make that plan accordingly.
Just I like I just said a couple minutes ago, fantasy football is as much about like preparation and feeling out your weeks as it is, having good players. So since you have, a questionable tag probably on Antonio Brown, take one of your bench pieces that is kind of an indifferent, drop, and make sure you have a player that is playing at the same time or after Antonio Brown. So, I mean, those are kind of the small little things that are going to, help you win a week and eventually win a championship if you're prepared. So take the extra time, look to see when Brown plays, find someone on your bench who you're not really thrilled about.
He says he has Marcus. Yeah, he has Marcus Callaway on Monday night.
You're golden, dude. Yeah. So just Marcus Callaway is a good play this week. So, just play Brown, obviously, if he's dressing, no matter what. And then if he doesn't, you're already set. So you're Gucci.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Mark. I think you're already a subscriber, and if you're not, please subscribe. Matt has another question. It says Dynasty PPR Superflex trade. Sutton and 2022 late second for Tony and a 2023 mid to late first.
Okay. Man, that's a really even trade.
Yeah.
So you're in a sense, right? You're downgrading from Sutton to Tony. That's the vibe here, right? And you're upgrading, but you're moving your late second to possibly middle to late first. Are you
the next year, the following year?
Yeah, but that's fine. 2023's draft class is straight fire. Yeah. Dude, thanks for telling me that, Rick.
How do you know the 2023 draft class is straight fire? That's 2 years from now.
I'm a big dynasty player guy. so I mean,
you know college players from 2 years out. That's pretty good.
No, I don't. I follow 300 people on Twitter that do.
Yeah. Okay.
No, Twitter's your friend, and I follow I probably follow more dynasty people than season long. And everyone won't shut up about how good the 2023 class is. Like, the big play in Dynasty right now is trade 2022 firsts for 2023 firsts, because it's it's a good trade. So use that to your advantage. So I know this would suck if Tony doesn't turn out to be good because Sutton's looking like a beast, but I like the trade because Tony's younger. He's flashed already in basically his first NFL start, and you're upgrading your pick pretty dramatically. So take the Tony side and cross your fingers that he continues to look as good as he has in his first couple games. So yeah, go ahead and roll the dice. The only way I wouldn't do that trade is if you're like a top 2 or 3 contender. It's too risky because Cortland Sutton is just a way better asset to have this year. So if you're in like first to third place, I'd probably hold off on that one.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the question, Matt.
Jake had a question.
Yeah, he said. He says, "How are we feeling about more Cortland Sutton questions? Value with an emerging Noah Fant and Jerry Jeudy eventually coming back."
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, fade the noise, man. I mean, Cortland Sutton had a huge game this past week, and he had 3 other deep targets that were just flat out misses by Bridgewater. Guy could have had 250 receiving yards. I mean, he had steps on 3 other deep balls that were overthrown.
Yes.
So Sutton's all the way back from his ACL tear. He's looking like a beast. I'm not gonna lie and say like, Jerry Jeudy's not going to affect him because Jerry Jeudy is a target monster. He works around the line of scrimmage more, but Sutton is the alpha that Jerry Jeudy's not. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, red zone target. I'm not lowering my stance on Sutton too much because I liked him going into the year when all those players were healthy. So yeah, I'm still there.
I agree. As far as Cortland Sutton, when it comes to dynasty goes, he's doing really well right now with Teddy B at quarterback, and you have to think at some point they're going to upgrade at quarterback, possibly even Aaron Rodgers maybe in the future.
Dude, you read my mind. Yeah. I was about to say, can you imagine Cortland Sutton with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, he's going to be an absolute stud.
Yeah.
So as far as that trade that we were talking about earlier, if that happens, it sucks if you give up Cortland Sutton and then all of a sudden he gets Aaron Rodgers. But I think you gotta potentially make that trade just because you get a better pick and you get the upside with Tony moving forward. But yeah, do we have any other questions here?
Yeah, Jake just said Sutton's a baller. Tremendously underrated. Yeah, man, he's like I'm really into like college profiles and athleticism and stuff. Cortland Sutton's he's the definition of an alpha, perfect size, perfect weight, has the speed, great hands, college production. Guy's a beast.
I agree.
Can't wait for him to get a QB. Where were we? We were on the Bills game.
Yeah, we were on the Bills game. We were finishing up though. I didn't really have much else to talk about the Bills game as far as from a fantasy. We pretty much touched on everything.
Jake says I own 3 SMU receivers in one of my leagues: Sanders, Beasley, and Cortland. Yeah, that's they. I saw they showed that on Monday Night Football. A picture of Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley in college.
Yeah, I didn't even know they're SMU receivers. Nice.
Yeah. So, what did you go to SMU or something? Why do you love SMU receivers? No, that's a good receiving trio right there. Yeah. The last thing about the Bills is their running game is back to being frustrating.
Yeah.
So here I was feeling good about Zach Moss for a couple weeks, and then the Bills, did me in with letting Allen.
What was the touch distribution in this last game? Let's see here. They had, I know Singletary. I was watching the game, so Singletary had
like 5 carries.
So Singletary had 5 carries, and Moss had 8 carries,
but for less yards.
For less yards, but not even. They both had 27, 24 yards. That's nothing. And Zach Moss had 2 catches. Singletary had 5 catches. So Singletary had more touches. I don't know.
So Zach Moss has missed a game, and I think he's either like 7th or 8th in the NFL in red zone carries, even with missing a game. So I'm standing behind my Zach Moss is a beast stance for at least another couple weeks, because I truly believe he's the better back, and he's their goal line running back. Josh Allen's the real goal line back, but he's their goal line running back, and he's a better receiver than Singletary. So I don't know that Singletary is actually better at anything besides maybe like breakaway run ability. But
yeah. Okay, I think that's enough for the recap of the games. Before we get into the waiver wire, we have one last question from Mark. He says, would you start Jalen Hurts or Aaron Rodgers this week? Jalen Hurts is on the road at the Raiders, and Aaron Rodgers is at home against the Washington football team. Both games have an over-under of 49. I know my answer here. It's A-Rod for me. I know you're higher on Hurts than most people, but
no, I'm not.
I'm not. I like Rodgers at home. Washington's defense has looked pretty bad this year. Patrick Mahomes just lit them up last week. Every week somebody seems to be lighting them up, so I would go with Rodgers at home. What about you, Chris?
Okay. Rodgers, this is a tough one. I was about to say Rodgers has a safer floor but not as much upside, because I see no situation where Rodgers needs to throw the ball 30 times at home against Washington football team. I think there's no way that he just has to uncork it and, keep up with them. There's no way. What's the line on that game? Like 10?
No, minus 9.5. Yeah.
Okay. So that's tough, because usually I wouldn't say Rodgers has a better floor, because Jalen Hurts is like the ultimate floor play, right? Because he runs so much and gets rushing touchdowns. He's QB4 on the year, so it's tough to fade him. This is really tough. I feel like, I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit here. They're like ultra close for me. I just want to see what this one website I peek at sometimes is saying.
The website that I use for rankings has Hurts at 4 and Rodgers at 9 this week. So maybe Hurts is the play, but I'm just not a Hurts guy personally. So
hold on, let me see. Yeah, the one I use has Hurts at 6, Rodgers at 7. Oh man, so Las Vegas's defense has been pretty good. This is tough, man. I'm gonna try to not overthink it here. I'm gonna go with the QB who's at home against a garbage defense. Yeah, he's probably not gonna, get in a shootout or anything. I think the upside's a little capped, and I think Aaron Jones could have a monster game. Dylan could have a big game. I'm going with A-Rod. There's just no way he doesn't have 250 yards and 2 TDs. It's like that's like a ultra lock, right? Mm-hmm. There's still that chance. Jalen Hurts had like 150 passing yards last week. Mm-hmm. There's still a chance, heading from East Coast to West Coast, playing a decent defense, he could dud out
in that loud ass stadium that we've been in. It's a very very loud stadium.
So it's really hard to say sit the QB4 on the year, but I think Rodgers' situation for this week is just so safe. I don't know why you would fade it.
We were having this debate before the season started, whether to draft Hurts or Rodgers, because they were right next to each other pretty much in preseason rankings. So you got both of them somehow.
I think if the Eagles game somehow gets into a shootout, I think Hurts has more upside than Rodgers, but I'm taking the for sure points with Rodgers at home.
Yeah. So that's a Rodgers from both of us. Let's see here. We got more questions here. Pick and Rick, thanks for the question. He says, should I pick up Melvin Gordon, Christian Kirk, Rondell Moore, Marcus Callaway? I don't know which Anderson is, maybe Robbie, or Amaron St. Brown. Okay.
Depends what you need, but my easy answer there is Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
He's like a very startable RB2.
Yeah, I would. If you're just picking up one out of those,
absolutely loaded at running back. I mean, I guess you don't need Melvin Gordon because he doesn't have like a huge upside. Who would you go with out of the receivers, Rick?
I would probably go with one of the Arizona receivers.
We're on the same page.
And
I'm probably going Rondell Moore.
Probably going Rondell Moore myself.
But yeah,
I think it's Melvin Gordon if you need a running back. But if you're stacked at running back, like you said, out of those receivers, either Kirk or Moore is my pick.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon, you're not seeing on many waiver wires. I feel like he's the easy pick there. Yeah, unless you have a whole bunch of running backs. So yeah, Melvin Gordon's our answer. And then if you don't need a running back whatsoever, which I can't see that being true with all the injuries and week 7 buys, then go with Rondell Moore.
He says he also could pick up Marlon Mack. I would pick up Gordon before Mack for sure.
Marlon Mack's we talked about it last week on the waiver wire. Marlon Mack's an interesting player to own right now because the Colts are trying to trade him. So he's kind of cool to have on your bench. Okay.
Yeah. Let's move on to our waiver wire section. I'll let you take the lead here with some names, and then I'll give you some names as well for pickups in the waiver wire for running backs and wide receivers. So go ahead, Chris.
So I tried hard to come up with a QB, and I can't.
Oh, you wanted QBs? Okay, yeah, QBs is fine.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's start with QBs because I need some help.
Okay.
Actually, no, I have one. Tua.
Okay.
Tua at home against Atlanta. I'm digging that. I'm digging that play this week for waiver wire. He's probably available in a lot of leagues still since he was coming off his injury. Atlanta has an absolutely atrocious defense, and Dolphins they can put up points. So.
Yep. I like Derek Carr this week against the Eagles at home. I don't think that's a bad streaming option. I also like Jameis, even though it's a tough matchup on the road in Seattle. I still think the Seattle defense.
They're giving points.
They're giving up points. So Jameis and Derek Carr would be some nice streaming options from my end.
Yeah.
Anybody? You got anybody else besides Tua?
No.
Mac Jones maybe against the Jets.
You always like to pick on the Jets, but I think they have a solid pass D. I think you beat them on the ground. No, I'm not rushing to pick up Mac Jones. Every name that we said before Mac Jones, I like more than Mac Jones.
Okay.
An interesting one. We talked about this weeks and weeks ago. If you have a really good QB, like a top 5 or 6 guy that you're starting every week, no matter what, I'm still intrigued to stash Trey Lance. Just because I want to see what they end up doing between him and Jimmy G, after they were on bye this past week. So a lot of plans can change off buys. So we'll see. I don't know. I think he's an interesting stash, not because, if you have a really good QB and Trey Lance gets the starting job and pops off, you have a great trade piece because
did they announce who's the starting quarterback this week?
No, I don't know. Let's look. I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything. Let me see.
Because the waiver wire page that I'm looking at says Trey Lance / Jimmy G. So I guess they have not announced who's starting in that game. The Lions minus
so
4.
Jimmy Garoppolo was limited in practice, and Trey Lance missed practice.
Okay. So
interesting.
Maybe Jimmy G is starting.
I don't know. I just think if Trey Lance is available and you have a roster spot to just throw him on there, I don't think there's many players available in the waivers whose value could jump as much as Trey Lance's could if he's named starter. Just personal opinion.
I agree. Running backs. Who do you like?
I'm going to tell you who I don't like that I think everyone else likes.
Dearness Johnson?
Yeah. I would have to be in a pretty dire situation to spend a lot of fab money on Dearness Johnson. Number one,
for 1 week.
It's a 1 week rental, and you got to take that into account. Number two, He's on the road, right, at the Broncos,
No,
which is
he's at home.
At home against the Broncos, which is still literally
A good rush defense.
it's like death. I think they're number 1 against running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, he's not good.
We saw this last year with the situation where Hunt and Chubb were both out, and Dearness Johnson was a hot pickup, and he sucks.
Yeah. So, yeah, he ran. I think he's not a good athlete.
What about Demetric Felton? I don't know anything about him.
You know, here's the number one thing to know about Demetric Felton is he has 0 carries this year. He's a rookie. He's a wide receiver in college. I don't know. I just think
on Yahoo he has a wide receiver running back designation, both of them.
My thought on this is that so many things would have to go right to get a good game out of Dearness Johnson or Demetric Felton. Demetric Felton's not even on my radar unless you're in like a 16-team league and you're desperate. Dearness Johnson, why? Like he's playing the Broncos. They don't have Baker Mayfield. That game's going to be freaking ugly. I mean, I don't know what's the over-under for that game, like 41, 42?
It is
got to be low.
44. Yeah, it's pretty low.
Yeah, and that seems kind of high, but I just don't see the Browns without.
Sorry, 41. I was looking at
41. Okay,
yeah, 41.
Gotcha. Yeah, 41 point over under, and you're going to give me a shitty third string running back against the number 1 rush defense in the NFL for fantasy purposes, at least. I'm just full off of that. I don't know why you'd want that. You have to be so freaking desperate. But anyway, I'll give you someone I'd rather play over Dearness Johnson. That's going to cost $2 instead of $30.
Go for it.
Freeman on the Ravens. So he has a better matchup. I think he's a better player.
This is all dependent on if Latavius Murray is out.
Which, yeah, I'm assuming Latavius Murray's out. Yes.
So you really think Freeman's going to be the guy over Bell?
I mean, I think he looked better last game.
I agree.
And so I just think there's other options that could be so much better. So rather than Dearness Johnson spending, like, there's going to be a bidding war for this guy. And the fact that there's a bidding war for a 1 week running back against the hardest matchup in the league blows my mind. Just don't be involved. Rather than spending that money, just pick up Freeman, DJ Dallas, Jared Patterson, and just hope something breaks in your favor. Like this is what we did 2 weeks ago with Khalil Herbert, right? We said, pick up Khalil Herbert. You know, when Montgomery went out, we're like, just in case. I mean, shit happens, right? So I'd rather have the $1, $2, $3 options and just get a little bit lucky than spend $30 on a crappy player. Just personal opinion.
I agree. I will also throw one more name out there if he is available in your waiver wire, which I looked at ESPN earlier today, and he is available in a lot of leagues. Elijah Mitchell looks like he is going to be the number 1 back for the 49ers this week. It looks like he's back from injury, and Trey Sermon is either hurt or he sucks.
He's just. It seems like they want Mitchell to be the guy.
Yeah. So Elijah Mitchell, if you have him, pick him up.
Yeah, for sure. If he's available, I wouldn't think anyone would cut him, but the fact that he's available in so many ESPN leagues says a lot.
Yeah.
Is Trey Sermon piquing your interest if someone cuts him this week, or has someone cut him last week for his bye?
No,
not at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't think he's that good.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right that he's not been the guy so far. He's an interesting stash play to me, even though Jeffrey Wilson's coming back soon.
I mean, he had to. All right, so he followed up filling the shoes of Zeke and J.K. Dobbins, right, in Ohio State. Like that's who he had to follow, right? And he was all right in college. Like he wasn't that great, and on a very productive run offense at Ohio State. I just don't think he translates that well to the NFL. To be completely honest,
he had like 3 good career college games.
Yeah,
and he was a very late breakout. Okay, cool. So yeah, we this week. Are you off to Dearness too?
Yeah, I'm off of dinners. I'm not playing them.
Yeah,
I'm
same.
not even
So
trying to pick it up.
our cheap pickups this week are Jarrett Patterson, because that could turn into a slam dunk if Antonio Gibson ends up missing time, which it's looking kind of more and more likely. Khalil Herbert had a freaking monster game, led the Bears in carries last week. Damian Williams still in COVID protocol, we think. So we'll see what happens there. But if Damian Williams is out, Herbert's a RB2 this week. And then some long shots are Freeman on the Ravens and DJ Dallas, if Alex Collins is ruled out this week.
All right. Wide receivers. Anybody?
Yeah. So I doubt Rashad Bateman's available in your league, but if he is, definitely worth a look. The Ravens are chucking the ball all over the field this year, much more than normal. They're not the same Ravens that, run the ball 40 times a game. Marquez Callaway, he's probably available in a lot of leagues. He was on a bye last week, so I think a lot of people cut bait with him. I think he's a pretty solid play moving forward. Sterling Shepard, coming off an injury, I think he might have been cut by some teams. And then one I really like, and you might call me stupid for this one, but he's coming off a bye. He's done absolutely nothing all year long. Like, he's below a 0. Brandon Ayuk. I think he's either at the bottom of people's benches or they cut him because they needed a player last week. I don't know, intuition, feeling, gut. I think coming off a bye, fully healthy from the injury he started the year with, one more week out of the doghouse of Shanahan, I have a feeling in the next and the next like 3, 4, 5 matchups for the 49ers are all freaking gravy. I just have a gut feeling that Ayuk just comes out blazing out of the bye week. So he's a pickup for me, and I know he's probably not available in a ton of leagues. So I think he's a really, really good low risk, high reward trade option.
Okay. A couple names for me for wide receiver. I'm a Jamison Crowder truther. He was coming off of a bye. I like his PPR outlook. Like we had talked about earlier, Michael Gallup is coming back either next week or maybe this week or next week, but he is coming back soon, so he could be a IR stash for you on the bench. And then KJ Osborne, we talked about him a little bit during the show. He's available in a lot of leagues. He's not really a priority, but if you're in a wide receiver pinch and need to start someone, he is not the worst option for sure.
Yeah, tough week 7 buys. So waivers.
I hate how they do the buys. The buys they did like 2 teams or something, or 4 teams, and then 6 teams, and then back to 2 teams or something. I don't know. They should just do the same number of teams like for buys every week.
Agreed. It's messing up fantasy football. It's not nice.
Yeah. Do you have anybody else in wide receiver before we talk about tight ends and wrap this up real quick?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Tight ends, same ones for me. Ricky Seals-Jones, if he's available, pick him up. He's getting a lot of targets in the Washington offense, and Pat Freiermuth is getting the targets in Pittsburgh. Those are the 2 guys for me.
Yeah, my 2 are Pat Freiermuth. With Juju out, he was seeing a lot of targets. He looked good with those targets. I'm an Ebron hater, so I think Freiermuth is going to get more and more work as the season goes on. And my next one is Zach Ertz. Don't think he was widely owned. And he gets put on an elite offense. And it looks like he still has juice in the tank. I mean, he was playing pretty well for the Eagles. So this is definitely an improvement of his situation. So we don't know exactly what his role is going to be or how he's going to perform, but you can definitely have a worse stash on your bench than Zach Ertz.
Yep. Jake, to answer your question, he said thoughts on Ramondre Stevenson. We talked about it earlier. We think that Damian Harris is the workhorse back right now, but it was a little concerning for Damian Harris owners like me and Chris are with the workload that Stevenson got in the last game against the Cowboys. But I still think he's not startable, or I mean, he's rosterable as a stash, but he's definitely not startable with Harris being healthy.
Yeah. So Stevenson got a lot of the pass work, so I think he's a pretty good stash. I mean, definitely over Brandon Bolden, and I think the way that Belichick can flip his mind about running backs, I think he's a perfect player to throw on the end of your bench. Because if Harris fumbles once or twice, it might be a Stevenson show.
Yep. All right. Before we wrap it up, just really quickly, a couple defenses I like this week. New England at home against the Jets, the Saints against the Seahawks, and if Arizona is available in your league, I think that's a smash play against Houston.
Yep, you named all three of mine. So you check real quick and make sure those aren't available. If they are available, make sure you pay up for them. Those are easily the three best of the week.
Yep. And if none of those three are available to you, you could go to someone like the Panthers against the Giants, or like the Packers against the Washington football team. Those are some second tier options for me.
Yep.
All right, guys. We are going to wrap it up. I don't think we have any more questions here. Thanks for all your questions tonight. Thanks for being so active in the chat. Jake, it's nice talking to you. If you have any other questions, please leave it in the comment section of this video. We will answer it there, or you can tweet at us, DM us, however you want the questions to be answered, especially with more injury news coming out later in the week. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Nickel City Mafia YouTube page. Get in on the Josh Allen giveaway, the helmet giveaway, and I hope you guys have a good week 7. I can't believe it's already week 7 of the NFL season. Chris, it was nice talking to you again. I will, we'll talk this weekend about football, obviously, and we'll see you guys next week. Do you have anything else, Chris, before we go?
No, Bills Mafia out there. Enjoy your bye week. Get some rest. Your heart can rest easy this week. And if you're bored, the Ravens will take 1 week bandwagon fans.
Yeah,
they're a fun team to watch, and they can be your AFC North team. So
yeah. They're probably the most exciting game of the 1 p.m. slate this week. Ravens Bengals.
Who would have thought?
Surprisingly.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and catch us back here next Wednesday, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.